Y'all, I got my notebook. Let's go ahead and get into it because Fashion Fair is back. If you did not know, run to the stores, run to the website. Get it right now. Actually, I think it's just on the website. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into Fashion Fair. Now, I remember seeing Fashion Fair when I would go to Macy's and shop, and it would be at one of the cosmetic counters. It is a pioneer in the cosmetic industry, beauty industry, basically. So let's go ahead and get into it because I'm very excited to see that it is back. Also, for reference, you'll see some videos linked down below. Okay. All right, so Fashion Fair was founded in 1973 by Eunice Johnson. I was about to call her Eunice, but I think it's Eunice Johnson. That's why you saw my pause. Anyway, okay. So she was, and Fashion Fair was born out of a need. Back in the day, there were these traveling fashion shows that were happening around the country. And what she noticed was that the models at that time, which they were Black models that were featured within this fashion show, this traveling fashion show basically, were that the models were mixing different products together to match their skin tone. And that's what sparked the idea to create cosmetics for women with deeper skin tones. And we're talking about the 70s. So don't think about this day and age now where there have been a lot of companies that have expanded their color palettes and product lines to meet needs for people of all different skin color ranges. This is back then where there weren't many options, and pretty much there weren't any at all. And this is where Fashion Fair came in. Fashion Fair fell under the umbrella of Johnson Publishing. If you remember Ebony and Jet magazine, that Johnson Publishing Company. It was owned by Johnson Publishing Company up until 2019. Johnson Publishing Company filed for bankruptcy, and it was sold in 2019 after that bankruptcy filing to Desiree Rogers and Cheryl Mayberry McKissack. I think is how you say her last name. Which, I'm sure you know who Desiree Rogers will remember her from the Obama administration days. So she actually was the former White House social secretary, and she also was the former CEO of Johnson Publishing Company. And Cheryl McKissack has had a long career in corporate America. She got her tech start with IBM, and then she also has a stint as a VP for US Robotics. Which I love a woman in tech because I'm a woman in tech. So I love seeing that, which is so cool. Okay, moving on from that. If you're at this point of the video, thank you so much for watching. Keep watching. My name is India with Fashion Home Life by E. I make hair care products, pretty much headbands, turbans, scarves, things of that nature. So more of lifestyle, but we're focusing on hair products that are good for your hair right now. And I'm a headband lover. So that's where the beginning start is going to come from. But if you're interested in headbands or know someone, make sure you check out my website. Will be in the description box. And let's go ahead and get back to the rest of this video. Now, a little bit more about these Fashion Fair, because this is way before my time. But when Fashion Fair had these, pretty much Fashion Fair was started as a traveling fashion show, like I said. And that was in the 1960s. You can see me keep looking down. It's because I have my little notebook down here. And Ebony, it was an annual event that happened with Ebony magazine, believe it or not, which is so neat to see. And seeing the pictures of them is very cool. And pretty much they showcased and highlighted fashion from Paris for middle class women. And that's kind of where the name Fashion Fair came from, but then became a company. Peaked at about 187 shows during a 12-week window over that they would show 2 times a year. That is major. Just imagining these women traveling in Greyhound buses around the country was a lot, and I think it was more so just predominantly Greyhound buses. Like, they weren't traveling in planes at this time, I don't believe. So just thinking of that and knowing just all of the ways that you can get around a lot quicker nowadays, that is something. And just the fact, 187 shows, just the sheer magnitude that I remember during my research, I was seeing information about how these fashion shows were fun. Back then it was very serious. You walked down, you showed your clothes, and you walked off. Where these models were encouraged, they were dancing, they were showing their personality. So it was more of a fair and a joyous event versus a kind of more serious and just a more serious type of situation. It was something that brought joy, relatability, and entertainment to seeing the latest items that were coming from Paris. Now, in 2003, the fashion, what was interesting that I read in this article, which for reference, everything that I'm talking about will be linked down below. And the fashion fair never had gone out of business. I thought it actually did because it disappeared from the shelves at Macy's, but it never did. It was a very loved product. They had a large following and a dedicated customer base. So much so that it was actually hard for them to keep products in stock. And from the article that I read, it did look like that was one of the reasons they were having issues and led to it just kind of being dormant for a while before it was end up being sold off. And so just for reference, in 2003, the company made $60 million. Okay, so they like no small pennies. And the other situation that had happened too is nowadays you do have more companies that have expanded, like I said at the beginning of the video, color palettes that meet darker skin tones, where there wasn't that many opportunities. If there was any, like I said, they've been a pioneer in doing this and focusing on women of color. And now you do have more companies that are offering this range. So it was a combination of things where their products wouldn't stay on the shelves. They were having problems with supply. Then also you had more competitors that they had their own loyal customer base, and they're trying to enter the market too and offer a wider color palette as well. Now, due to the media changes in landscape and media, as well as makeup, and changes in the ability to keep up with stock, like I mentioned, the brand did suffer, and is back, which is great. And they do promote that their products are made out of clean formulas. They are made with natural oils. They have sunflower seed oil that they're featuring in some of their products. They use rosemary extracts, which I'm not a big makeup person, but I do love skincare, and I'm hearing that their primer is a really good skin moisturizer. I think I might try that one in the future. Let me know if you have heard of Fashion Fair, and if you would be excited to try it. Let me know that as well. And thank you so much for watching this video. Leave your comments down below. Bye.